tell me you're through. When you were gone, Lord knows you done me wrong.
Currently, you're listening to WeP3 Radio, produced with the partnership of Reads Across America Radio, with the mission to remember the fallen, honor those who have served, and teach future generations the value of freedom created by the men and women who have served their country.
Drinking you down.
Currently on WeP3 Radio,
maybe I'll find a better version of you. Keep me busy for a night or two till I can figure out something better to do. With you gone, Lord knows you done me wrong.
Left your left, hey. Left right, your left. You got it.
Truck it on.
Doctors, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
To put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left your left, hey. Left right, your left. You got it.
Truck it on.
Hey, it's Andrea Eichmann here. It's Sunday night, the 24th of November. We are here with the People's Patriot Project and our show, We Got Your 6 at 6. Every week, we bring some new guests on and we introduce them and let them share what they're up to, how they're doing good and continuing the mission and what's coming up for them. This week, we get to meet Jack from Veterans Healing Admin. Got some awesome stories of healing and building camaraderie. We welcome much excitement for them. We also have a great meeting. Well, we actually met Mathew Jones, and he'll be bringing his Matthew's Anthem music tonight. We love him, and you will too. Another veteran out there doing the job that they love. Our sponsors for tonight's episode include Catch 22 with Derek Iozio, Operation Texas Strong, the Boho Hobos Hideaway with Lauren Iozio, and then we have Brian Kenzer, who is with us and supporting WeP3 with his business, Smart Living Today. This is about American-made products with a stream to help support the People's Patriot Project while you shop. Reach out to our sponsor, Brian, and discuss getting on the right side of your health, supporting American families, jobs, and the economy. Oh, I lost my spot. And supporting the WeP3 mission. I've got a little link for you to go check that out. Brian's not here. He just happens on Sunday nights. He gets a lot of calls. He's an active first responder. So maybe he'll pop in, maybe he won't. The People's Patriot Project, we got your 6 at 6, can also be heard on the Rees Across America radio station on Sundays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find Rees Across America radio on the iHeart app, the Odyssey app, the TuneIn app is search the word Wreath, and we have a link for that coming up as well. Thank you to all our sponsors, our guests, and our viewers. And before we get started this week, we ask that you take off your hats, stand if you can, cover your heart, and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bam, 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 bam. Here we go. Wow. Oh, buttons aren't pushing fast enough tonight. All right. That is. Good to see everyone in the house. We are here. It is November 24th. It is November 24th.
It is November 24th.
It is like 1 week, not even a week. And we are burning some birds. And Jonathan, what are you thankful for?
Here we go again. Here we go.
Let's try it again. What you got?
Uh-oh. What are you thankful for?
What am I thankful for? Man, I was going to cover a little bit of this in the news tonight, but I don't know what I'm not thankful for. There's everything, man. When you wake up in the morning, you can be thankful that your eyes are open. You stand in front, walk straight to the bathroom, brush your teeth, turn on the water. You can be thankful you got running water because there's plenty of people that don't. The reasons are endless. But I guess the most and primary thing is because about 14 years ago now, my wife changed my life. So thankful for her and my family for sure.
Jack, what are you thankful for?
I think the first thing that comes to mind when I think about, all that is just thankful to be, in this great country that we're in. And, I feel very blessed to be in America, to be born in America. Now it led a lot into why I wanted to serve this country in the military. So that's the number one thing that really comes to mind. And everything kind of, everything else is there, but it just kind of follows that overarching fact in my mind. So where I'd go with it.
Andrea, what are you thankful for?
I like that answer. I actually just found, I just went on a camping trip with a bunch of 8th graders, and as I was packing, I found this hat, and I'm not sure where it came from. and it's like a little beret, and it's red, white, and blue. It's blue with some red and white, and it said, "I love the USA." And so I had some kids asking me, "Do you love America, Miss Eichmann?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do love America, and I am thankful for all the things that I get to do, like freeze my toes off in the woods with you guys. That was perfect." No, I'm kidding. I had fun. I'm just very thankful for my health and for a lot of my family being able to come and visit this week. And then I've reconnected with some old friends. And so I'm just thankful that the world is how it is right now.
Mr. Jones,
What is up?
what are you thankful for, brother?
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, I'm thankful that every morning God gives me another opportunity, to do what I'm passionate about, to try to reach out and help people. He keeps saying yes to me. I know I don't deserve it, but he keeps me moving, fighting the good fight. So I'm thankful that every day I have my friends and my family help encourage me. Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed, man. So I'm thankful that every day God says yes to me. So
I love it. I mean, I'm thankful for food. I like food. And there's a lot of freedoms and opportunities that I think, yeah, check it out.
And don't forget tacos.
Tacos. I mean, food is my love language, so that's where I get excited about that. I put that out, and I enjoy cooking this and that. But the question does kind of lean back to, and many of you probably have not heard this if you haven't been on the podcast, broadcast, live stream, but we know why we get to do this. Thank you for the service members and first responders that have committed their time, sweat, blood, limbs, family, and life to give us the freedoms that we have to allow us to do what we do daily. And, you can put God in that equation. Thank you, God, for this opportunity. Thank you, God, for the strength and the courage of men and women who walk out their door daily not knowing if they're going to come back. I'm thankful that there is I don't know, do you call it a courage level? You call it, I don't know, man. I'm just thankful that there are men and women that can see through the fog, and that there is, if I don't go do my job today, people will suffer, people will plausibly die, people will be taken for granted of, and that's our men and women who have served. And everyone kind of had a flavor, a notion, or a direction that kind of leaned towards that. And I just, I think we get stuck sometimes in the rut of not seeing or having what we really want. And then we focus on that. And then we think about all the things you do have. And that kind of back to Jonathan's piece. And I think we get stuck in that sometimes. And so I'm thankful that we got this amazing crew of people on here for the panel tonight for We Got Your 6 at 6. And again, this is November 11th. Because I have to do it, what is a food item that you are excited to consume this week, Jonathan?
This particular week, everything on Thanksgiving, but my sister-in-law makes this dessert that I love, but we call it Sam's dessert because the guy who taught us the recipe ages ago, his name was Sam, but it's like a graham cracker crust, and then it's pistachio pudding and whipped cream and crushed pecans all on top, and it is just phenomenal. I look forward to it every year.
I have to throw a curveball in here. I don't understand what pistachio pudding is. It's green. and you get pistachio nuts, and I like pistachio nuts, but pudding has nothing to do with pistachio in my brain, other than it's green. Because isn't it lime?
It's pistachio flavored, yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't think it's lime.
No, it's definitely pistachio flavored. For sure.
Whatever it is, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll get it. Jack, what's something that you're going to consume this week that you're excited about?
I mean, I cut for tonight, man. I mean, just what I'm thinking about right now is my wife's cooking up some lasagna, so I got that on my mind right now. But for this week, definitely giving just the regular Thanksgiving run of the mill family stuff. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to kind of tonight. We're doing lasagna, so that's what I got coming on later. So
all right.
That's what's on my mind for food right now.
Miss Eichmann.
Supers. I guess my sister actually she asked to have our turkey deep boiled again.
Right.
Boiled turkey.
Boiled?
Boiled.
In water?
In oil. In oil.
That's fried. Deep fried.
It's deep fried. That's what she asked for. And I have not had that in a while, so I guess I'm looking forward to that. Enough with the smoker.
It's delicious.
All right. Deep fried. I'm with you on deep fried. I mean, teach their own. Again, I think that's what some Jack said earlier. Teach their own. The boiled thing had me a little bit.
Well, you have to boil it in oil, right? That's what makes it fried. You silly.
Oil's in the word.
Matthew, what are you excited for?
Well, I am not ashamed to say it. My family, we already had our Thanksgiving, so everything that's in a container in the fridge right now is everything I'm looking forward to. I had a lot of leftovers. I'm going to be eating really good for, I'd say, probably about 2 weeks. So, yeah, I have no complaints.
I get excited for Thanksgiving. So we have a guest that's I don't think it's coming. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but we were supposed to have this off the foot duck come into our piece this week, and it just didn't happen. That's fine. We've got 3 turkeys lined up, and I hear there might be a plausible another turkey that's going to go on the smoker. Honey brine wine brine. I did that wrong. Honey wine brine on these turkeys for 3 days, and it's like crack cocaine, man. Not that I've ever had that either, but it's. I know that me and the 13 Fox in this house can eat a turkey by ourselves, and we have zero guilt in doing that. People are requesting my collard greens, which that makes me very, very happy and proud. Being a cowboy from Wyoming State, should have no business cooking anything collard greenish, but it has worked out and people like it. And then I love making my father's traditional oysters, and to eat that for a week is kind of my jam. I like that; it's good stuff. But that's what excited for the food.
What kind of oysters did it crackle?
It's called scalloped oysters, but it's like an oyster casserole. It's like crackers and oysters, butter, garlic, pepper, and salt. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it is something that my father always made, and I keep the tradition, and you throw some cream in there with it, and it's nummy. It's nummy. If you don't like oysters, I get that. It's not a raw oyster. It is a cooked oyster, and oysters do kind of have for lack of a better word, a funk to them. But I like the funk. Real quick, let's rattle through Derek Iozio. Good to see you, brother. Joe Felici. Good. Jeremy Daniels is here. I've seen Brian Romans pop in. Amazing brothers and sisters. Thank you for coming. We got Amanda who's here every year. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And I hope you have a blessed week and find a way to get some conversation, bottom line. Check out our panel tonight. We got some new folks in the house. We have Jack. He comes from a unique perspective that we are getting ready to learn more about. We've had a couple of guests on in the past and we're going to give him the ground to share all he wants, but he's with Veteran Healing Admin. Is there like a base space for you, Jack? Where's that base considered?
Yeah, that would be right here. I mean, I'd say it's going to be Colorado. I mean, that's where it looks like we're headed to get the farm. The legalization and everything has just really progressed there nicely, and they're very open to the mushrooms in general. And just the admin part of that, that's just like that profile. That's just
okay.
Profile. Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
That's my profile, but yeah, it's I would say Colorado is where the kind of the mecca if you're in this area of mushrooms is going to be. There's some stuff out in Oregon too, but that's definitely like the conventions, psychedelics, for all psychedelics, really, not just mushrooms. But we're a mushroom team here, so yeah.
Well, tell us what that is. Is a mushroom?
Yeah, so mushrooms
thing.
Mushrooms really for me saved my life, put me on a completely different track when I got out of the military, and I've seen it do the same thing for like thousands of other veterans locally, all over the country, and same thing with a lot of different psychedelics. So I can't put that all on mushrooms, but for me personally, mushrooms is the best bang for buck. It's easily obtainable. It's easily affordable. To the point that we have started this program and this nonprofit for veterans who either can't afford or on the fence, that we send it out to them in many cases free of charge or as close to cost as we can get it by taking care of all that, back end work ourselves and an all veteran team. So kind of cutting out any middlemen, cutting out anybody that's in it to just make a ridiculous profit or throw 300% on something. Like, we grow it and give it out at cost or it free in most cases. And we're able to do that because of so many people just paying for it that want to come forward and pay for it and, understand the mission and cover others. And that's always more than covered the books. And we just keep it moving, man. And we've been through a lot these last couple of years, just in Massachusetts, just locally dealing with, just people trying to, like the government, people just trying to get in the way of veterans just naturally healing, so that they can keep them on pharmaceuticals is where I come from on that side of it. But yeah, I mean, anything you can do to get away from an orange pill bottle and get more towards a plant is really my philosophy. And that goes for foods, that goes for medicine. And I'm surprised I didn't see that a little earlier in my life, and that would have, saved me some heartache and could have just gotten me into mushrooms sooner. But I think a lot of this medicine, just kind of like how cannabis has been kind of hidden away from us, for a long time. And we're just trying to be the first or one of the first kind of veteran mushroom groups up to bat to, we've been at it since 2021 and helped thousands and thousands of veterans. Our Facebook group is about to hit 14,000, and that's all organic, no money on the ads or anything. Like, there's no frivolous expenditure here. You know what I mean? It goes straight to just producing what we can and when we can. And yeah, man, that's what it's all about. And it's just been a lot of organic growth. And I honestly could never do it without the amazing community in that group and just everybody that's just constantly coming forward and wanting to pay it forward, understands what we're trying to do. And everyone just kind of takes it to the next level. When they go up to the bat, they just hit a home run. And that makes it a lot easier for me. Every time we need a little help with something, whether it be, digital stuff or, posters or anything like that. There's always somebody in the group, another veteran that wants to come pay it forward, that's just been helped by what we're trying to do here. And that's the community we've kind of built. It's more of like a community, and we just kind of a farm behind it and easy access for mushrooms when we can get our new farm set up here in Colorado. So right now we're kind of on a little bit of a pause, but we still have some merchandise that goes towards supporting the mission, that goes towards, getting our new farm set up, our legal bills, everything is good now. Everything's cleaned up. We're on the up and up, but it's just getting reset up in a more friendly place. And that's what we're doing now. And yeah, man, it's been great. And I'm really just blown away with how much it's grown organically in this past couple of years. So yeah, if you have, you can kind of just take it from there. We can go wherever you want with it. There's nothing's off limits. So go ahead.
Outstanding. So Jonathan tells me I got some mic issues here, and I didn't want to cut in and out of the conversation here real quick. But Jack, if you can tell us about your service, where you served, how long you served, where you're at, and then Matthew, will you follow up as well? And maybe I'll be back. Maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so I was Air Force, and I was munitions. So I was working on first on just JDAMs, dumb bombs, and then went into precision guided munitions, so PGMs and air to air, air to ground, all that kind of stuff. And I was at DM, so I was the plane graveyard Davis Monthan down in Tucson, Arizona, which I love Arizona. It's definitely a lot. The weather down there is awesome. And I was just a one enlistment, just a 4-year enlistment guy, and that was it. Towards the end, I got pretty hurt during Operation Faithful Patriot, so I actually am 100% disabled veteran now after a couple of years of going through, the VA and all this other stuff, countless appointments. And but yeah, I went through a med board towards the end of my service and got out, and they just pretty much let me out with a lot of medical bills I was going through, which they took care of for the most part. But then it was, the rating was all messed up. But luckily, I got an amazing VSO when I got back home, and she helped me get it all figured out. And now everything is amazing, and it's given me the freedom to kind of get this mission started, which is what happened in 2021. Is as I got home, I was just kind of treading water, trying to deal with all the injuries, deal with all just the stress, anxiety, and at the same time, dealing with finances. And so once I got that figured out, I was like, okay, I want to help catch some people so they're not in that same exact predicament, mentally that I was in, because I found mushrooms and had that worked out almost at the same time. And I had found mushrooms earlier in life, but I was like, wow, this could be used as not like a recreational thing as I did in like high school and stuff, but also as a medical tool. So yeah, man.
Sweet. Excellent. Matthew, I believe it's your turn now. Is my mic better?
Yeah. Sounds like it's working. I was thinking you was going to say something, so I was like, let me hold on here.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting as well. It sounds better.
Well, I mean, you can read my name on the screen. My name's Mathew Jones. I served in the United States Army just shy of 13 years. I was in the Engineer Corps, so I started what was going to be a career in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Did 2 tours to Afghanistan with Operation Enduring Freedom, 07 to 08, and then 9 to 10. Afterwards, I PCS'd up to Fort Richardson, Alaska. Worked in the schools department with the USARAC G3 guys, and eventually graduated because I'm really excited about the hand-to-hand combat program in the Army. Eventually, I moved down to become the chief of training for United States Army combatives in Alaska. Absolutely loved the job. I was, down there with the soldiers training, and I had some injuries, traumatic brain injury, which led me to the traumatic brain injury clinic on Fort Richardson, and that led me to music therapy. And I've been playing music since I got out of high school, and to me, music was always just music. It's something I'd crank up in the car, and I had my genre that I really liked, and I played, and it never really kind of hit me that music would be a good form of healing for me. So I embarked on this music therapy journey up there in Alaska, and it put me in a position where I could start to use music to talk about the things that I had experienced and some of the things that are hard to talk about. But it was a way for me to heal. And so I started writing, my own songs, which led me to, play them at the Chris Kyle Patriot Hospital. And I got to see the reactions that people had from my music. And that really is kind of what pushed me, like, hey, keep doing this. Not only is it helping me, but it resonates with the listener. They can, share their stories, and talk about the things that my music brings out for them, and it helps them heal as well. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, man. I want to make an impact in people's lives. And if I can do it with a nice melody, a nice story, something that helps, show someone else like, hey, we're not alone in this. We have a lot more in common than we have different. Then that's my ultimate goal. That'd be my mission statement,
Well, let's roll with one of those songs. And the great news is we have built enough skill set. Let's the word skill set. We can put that on a hierarchy, and it probably leans very far one way than the other way. But the WeP3 team has come up with a skill set to start adding music to our own radio station. That's something we've never had before. But I can tell you right now that Mr. Mathew Jones is on WeP3 Radio not as we speak, but he is on the radio platform that we have set up at the Live 365 Internet Radio in conjunction with Rees Across America. And, well, let's throw that out there, too. You got some good news coming out, don't you?
Oh, yeah, exciting news. Once again, more than I think I deserve. But I met with a gentleman named Jeff Pierce when I went to Denver for the VA's National Creative Arts Competition. They do it every year. And there's thousands of veterans that submit multiple different styles of art forms that kind of help express them, their passions, the things that they love, helps them, kind of work through some of the traumatic things they've experienced, helps them process and heal. It's a really, really great organization. And when you get in there and you get to see like that's how far they go. But I wrote a song. You guys, I don't know, you're probably going to play it. And that song is what got me in front of Jeff Pierce. And well, I'll just gross over summarization. I was invited to go to Arlington and perform one of my songs. I think 2. I haven't picked the second one yet, but I am going to Arlington. I'm going to get to see the monuments, things I've never seen. And I've been just dying to see them. But I get to participate in something that is bigger than myself,
Yeah. And so is it for Wreath Day on December 14th?
Yes. So they're doing, I want to say Jeff Pierce and the guys up in the Maine area, they're doing like a 7-day trek down to Arlington. And I'm going to meet them there. I'm going to get to lay some wreaths. I want to get out there. I want to rub elbows with those people in the communities that are showing that they care, that they're making a difference. They're putting that effort. I want to be a part of that. And to get invited to do that, oh, it's such an honor. Like I'm excited. Like I'm giddy about it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll talk more about this in the next segment. Which song did they grab which of your songs grabbed Jeff Pierce's attention to bring you to Arlington?
The song that got me to Denver, it was called Ghost in My Hometown.
All right.
That was a song that when I had moved from Alaska back home to Nebraska, I kind of felt lost, to be completely honest with you. I thought rebuilding was going to be something simple. I'd done other things. I'd been through more stressful things in my life. How could, just kind of rebuilding, getting a home and stuff like that, how could that be that difficult? And it was hard. It was really hard. And in that time that I was struggling and stressed and just kind of in a dark spot in my mind, Ghost in My Hometown became a reality. And if you play it, the things you're going to hear are personal. There's references in the chorus that are like an exact, moment in my life. So I'm even getting more about that afterwards. But yeah, I try to put a little nugget of me in each one of these, but I also try to leave it, I had a buddy tell me, he said, well, I like your songs, but I feel like you leave too much food on the plate. And I know that's a Thanksgiving reference. Don't leave food on your plate.
The more the better. That's what
I told him. I said, that's a deliberate thing. I want to leave food on the plate. I want to have more that I can build off of one thing, So tell the story a different way with a different melody that kind of hits, someone else maybe a little differently. And so that's a deliberate thing, but I try to plug a little bit of, what's going on in my life in each one of my songs. So yeah, Ghost of My Hometown got his attention.
This is Mathew Jones with Ghost of My Hometown.
I have a scotch and a cigarette. I close my eyes and then my mind just drifts away. Never much to say. And I try to keep my head held high, knuckles to the wall as I dig inside. I know I'm all on my own. I tell myself that is what I wanted. I'm losing my mind and it's all for nothing, man. I'm trying to understand. And I try to keep the beast at bay, but I'm 1 foot in the ground. And they don't care about the price I paid or my friends who ain't around. And nobody even knows my name, and this old place just hasn't changed. The light's not shining through the windows now. I'm just a ghost in my hometown. The light's not shining through the windows now. I'm just a ghost in my hometown. I got a call just the other day, family of a friend who suddenly passed away. We had to lay him down. I try not to let them see me cry when I talk about the men who fought by my side. I know I gotta let it go, but these forces won't let me be. Screaming from the grave, and they're telling me that this is just the price we pay. And I try to keep the beast at bay, but I'm 1 foot in the ground. They don't care about the price I paid or my friends who ain't around. And nobody even knows my name, and this old place just hasn't changed. The dark creeps in and the sun fades out. I'm just a ghost in my hometown. The dark creeps in and the sun fades out. I'm just a ghost in my hometown. And I try to keep the beast at bay, but I'm 1 foot in the ground. And they don't care about the price I paid or my friends who ain't around. And nobody even knows my name, and this old place just hasn't changed. It's carved into the granite just above this ground. I'm just a ghost in my hometown. Carved into the granite just above this ground. I'm just a ghost in my hometown.
Excellent. Excellent.
Aw. Patriot Pride. That's in Joe Garcia.
That's my
Joe
buddy.
Allen Christie stepped in. Yep.
Joe came out and saw me in Denver.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. He's a lot shorter in person than I thought he was going to be.
You know, that's funny when you say that. That's funny when you say that.
On his videos, he looks like a big guy, and I'm like, "Whoa, hey, you're not as tall as I thought you were." But he's an awesome, absolute awesome human being. Just great person.
Absolutely. And he plays his solo act, and he also's got Winchester Road out there.
Mhm.
Make sure you get a chance to tune into them. Joe Allen Christie's on WeP3 Radio, just so, I mean, but you guys just recently rubbed elbows in another space, didn't you?
Yes. So Joe and I, we met in Denver, but we had, I jumped into some of his TikTok live videos, and I was pushed to Joe. I was given his name from Jason Steiner with Hero Stock, and I got to meet Joe in Denver, and then Joe was actually performed in Ashland just recently, earlier this year at Hero Stock's event. Man, I tell you, like, if you have not heard these guys, go see them. They're good. They're good.
Good.
Love having them on. Jack.
Yes. That was awesome, by the way, man. I mean, it's just really, I love hearing, I got introduced to one of my buddies in the group we got. His name's like Blake. I don't want to butcher his last name. It's like Liquet, or it's like, I think it's like
Blake
a friend.
Oh, Blue Cluquette.
Like yeah.
He's one of my very good buddies. So I think you guys would get along great. You guys like remind me a lot of each other. So
Does he have a beard?
yes, he does.
Okay.
But it's
That's
some very similar personalities. Very similar personalities, and he's been like one of my all-time biggest supporters and friends through this whole thing, ups and downs and everything in between. You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
Is that how we connected with you, Jack? Because Blake is a great friend of the People's Patriot Project. We had him actually play at our event this last was that March?
Is how we
last March. Yeah.
That's probably how we connected, because I was wondering how we can, I know Facebook just randomly obviously connects people all the time, but I was like, well, I was wondering too. I was like, how did I find you guys? And that's probably how we got connected through somewhere through the lines. So, I know when I was just like kind of like taking in your whole personality, I'm like, you remind me just of my friend. So I was like, you guys would just be great.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you guys would be like really like, yeah, it's from the same stock. It's funny when you see that out in the world, but yeah, man.
Check out Blake Cat as well. Matthew, I know you'll do that, but he is the hardest core cowboy dude I've ever met from Louisiana. I mean, I'm not really familiar. I mean, I know they rope a lot of alligators and stuff down there and stuff, but this guy's like a real cowboy from Louisiana. And I just love having him around. Great guy. Awesome. It's nice to know that we have these connections too.
Yes, we're it's a small community to begin with, and then it's an even smaller that wants to get re-involved with it after the fact. You know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. So, tell me the goods and the bads about what you're trying to accomplish with the product line. Now, you made it very clear before. You're not here to drum up sales. You're not here. You're just here to talk about the mission and the passion behind the mission. So. This is your platform, brother. Let it roll.
Appreciate it. I mean, so just I feel like I'll just start with kind of like the little Lego building blocks of it. I mean, we've been at it since 2021. I got out of the military a couple years before that. Like I said, we already kind of went over that whole spiel, you know what I mean? And as I started kind of getting my bearings back and getting everything in line, I saw what mushrooms did for me. But the problem I didn't like about mushrooms was like, okay, now it's turning into, or was, and it still is, just like everything else, like kind of old school cannabis. You got to buy it off a guy who's bought it off 5 other guys, and the quality's never the same. It gives you an upset stomach. It's just not. It was just a nightmare. And the few times I would get it and I would like it, I'm like, wow. I'm like, here we go. Like, this is actually good. And now even with today, this is, let me remind you, years ago. Now today, I would never buy anything off the street. It's a very dangerous world in that retrospect that we live in today. But moving forward, I was like, I would like to, especially for veterans, they don't really have that chance to sit there, buy something they don't know what it is, or it could be a synthetic and give them a bad time. I mean, they're already in a lot of cases on edge, and if they're at the point of trying to take in a medicine. So it's like, okay, here's something that's like, a synthetic, and I just bought it off Joe Smo, and I'm just trying to make some money, and it could really hurt somebody. And I was lucky enough that never happened to me, but there was plenty of times I got subpar, and even mushrooms that just gave me like almost like a really bad stomach illness, So I'd already kind of grown them a little bit in high school. I was always had a green thumb, always into growing everything, and the Irishman in me, and yeah, so I was like, why not try growing these again, just for myself, and I did, and there was some triumphs and some fails, and to replicate, beginner success never happens with mushrooms. So, but I got enough times to be like, okay, this is what I want to do. I like it. I want to give it to other veterans. So we got a space going, and we had a huge space. We still do have a huge space. Unfortunately, we have to move to just a more friendly, state, quote unquote. But it's wild how the world works with rules and stuff. But yeah, we have an amazing space, and I plan to replicate it there. All the equipment I own personally, about a huge investment of equipment, machinery, to do it on a scale and in a way that is clean, efficient, and just safe, for the end person who is a veteran, right? So this is like a farm that's solely, focused on growing them for veterans. There's no, other people that want to come forward and grab them, first responders, non-veterans, that's great. Everybody come in too and donate for them. And nobody's turned away from naturally healing. So I don't want to be like, we're not gatekeeping anybody, just so everyone's clear, but we focus on the veterans. That's what the whole point is. We have constant live chats in the group for veterans that are trying mushrooms, thinking about trying mushrooms. It's all centered around the veteran coming in there knowing nothing and being completely caught up to date on what a mushroom is, what it could do for them, and what to expect. And in many cases, for a lot of these veterans that are on disability, like myself, or a lot of these other veterans, they don't have 100, 200, or whatever. In some of these places in Oregon are charging them $1,200, $50 worth of mushroom, right? These veterans don't have that ability to do that. So that's where I think our project really comes in, where we take these people that might be open-minded to it, might not, for financial or other reasons, and kind of bridge that gap. And we can do it without needing ridiculous donations from some third party to pump ads all over our stuff or any of the stuff, because we do everything in-house with a team. I have 3 other combat disabled veterans that work with me. We're all volunteers. We, when we can, if we need some mushrooms, we grab some mushrooms, but that's really it, man. I mean, we're all also disabled, and we luckily have some finances coming in through that, from our time service. But that's it, man. I mean, we're all volunteers here, and there's nobody, trying to make hoo-hoo bucks here. And I think that's what eliminating those people along the way and kind of getting to this really wholesome, in my mind, as wholesome as we can, business, kind of trying to take, and I'm a pro-America, pro-capitalist guy, man. I'm not a communist or any of those type of directions. But when it comes to medicine, we don't need to attach a dollar sign to a human being every step of the way. You know what I mean? And that's my big thing. It's, these guys have already given an arm and a leg, figuratively and physically, in many ways. We don't need to sit there and charge them an arm and a leg to have somebody babysit them eating $50 worth of mushrooms that they've already eaten 30 times growing up, right? Most of these guys are, I don't gotta tell you guys, most of these guys are not Boy Scouts. I mean, you know what I mean? They know how to party, and they want to party, or they don't want to party anymore, but they have in the past, and they know what mushrooms are going to do for them in most cases, but they don't need to spend $1,200 to get a very microscopic amount of mushrooms just in a safe place to sit. And, that's where I'm trying to get away from, and trying to get it more into the, hey, like, you need it, here it is, as close to cost, in many cases nothing, and then they'll come back, and 9 times out of 10 people pay it forward and bring 5 more friends. And that's what's blown this up so dramatically fast. With, let me remind you, no, all grassroots, no advertisements. Like, you see all these crazy advertisements on Facebook for all this stuff, and we don't do any advertisements, any marketing, anything. We probably should, but we don't, because we just want to keep the finances going towards the actual production in the farm when it is operational. Just, for anybody who's watching, it is not right now. You know what I mean? We're on a little break right now, going through a move, but been at it since 2021, and nothing's going to stop us from achieving that mission of just healing as many veterans as we can naturally. And even if we help one veteran, this whole thing has been worth it, and we've helped a lot more than that, in my opinion. So we just keep chugging forward, man, and we're always looking for more people that want to come in and help. For any veterans out there that are kind of looking for a calling and want to get involved, and especially if you're out in Colorado, that seems to be where we're going next. And you have to, get an idea. We're all uprooting our lives, a few of these veterans with me, and replanting our lives in Colorado just to follow this mission, because we're not going to, nothing is going to stop, just a little bit of personal setbacks isn't going to stop us from, this overarching theme, which is getting mushrooms to veterans before they take their lives in many cases. So that's what it is, or at least trying it. I'm not going to say, you eat mushrooms and now you're perfect. There's nobody who's going to be able to do that for you, no matter how much money you spend, right? They open a door just like many psychedelics do, and then it's up to you to walk through that door and keep it moving. That's on you. If you're ready to meet it halfway, and if you are ready to meet it halfway, I think mushrooms is like amazing, because instead of putting a Band-Aid on it at the bottom of a bottle or with like a 20-pack of beers, you're really getting to some of the core issues that's making you go there, right? And yeah, man, if you can get away from anything in a medicine cabinet and get it more towards stuff that can be found out in the woods, the sooner the better. And that goes with food too. That goes with everything. And as soon as I got away from just a lot of engineered foods and a lot of bad foods and a lot of bad stuff, I was drinking a ton in the military because that's all you really can do. And once I still have some beers here and there. You're not perfect, but it's by no means like, hey, I need to go buy some liquor for tonight or some booze for tonight. You know what I mean? That's not. I don't feel like that at all. And that's not going to. I haven't had to go to any meetings. Haven't had to do anything. Haven't done any really hard work that many people have to do. I've just taken plant medicine, and so that's what I'm trying to share. I just spoke at Denver, as well, in Psychon. Man, we got to link up sometime when we're out there. And yeah, I love Denver, and that's where we're planning to be, on like somewhere outside of Denver or in that area. And they love psychedelics out there, and it's just a lot of veterans out there. It's a very open community for this stuff, and yeah, it seems to be where the mission's going. But we've had to kind of give it some time for everything to kind of pass, and like I said, we had a lot of hoops we had to jump through, and just a lot of stuff thrown at us this past couple of years. Just for people, we live in a very pharmaceutical dominated part of the country, in Massachusetts, and they don't like stuff that is not heavily taxed and that is not heavily ran by pharmaceutical stuff in many cases. And that unfortunately gave a lot of negative twists to this mushroom program, and to the mission of the mushroom program that they were trying to get passed was similar to what is going on in Oregon, which I already previously talked about, that I don't really agree with, which is like, okay, now mushrooms are legal, but you have to spend $1,200 and sit in front of two people. So that eliminates almost 99% of the veteran community right there, just from you putting that huge pay gap. And you have to remember, insurance will not cover this type of stuff. So there's nothing that's going to like cover it unless somebody's donating that money, which is a ridiculous sum, or is just, we don't have to do all that. We don't have to fundraise crazy amounts or do any of that. We can just do it in-house and spread the love for free, man. So please, like I said, shoot away. Nothing's off limits. And I don't really do lives like this, but I saw a veteran live, and now knowing that Blake, it's obviously the universe pushing me towards this. So nothing's off limits.
I love this. That's exactly right. Now there's something that weird. Did you guys just see the thumbs up come up on?
Yes.
Where on earth did that come from? That's a new thing.
Must be a new update.
I saw it on FaceTime with my wife. We were talking, and she was saying something. Man, I was talking with my hands, as I tend to do, and I said something like this, and then a thumb popped up, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's probably when my hand movement probably generated. Yeah. So that's funny. Yeah,
it's not doing on this expensive.
Someone teach me. I'm good with it.
Right. Yeah,
this conversation is so intriguing, Jack. In we had some pre-show conversation. We have a good friend, another musician. Just want to do a quick shout out real quick. James Howard was just on here as well, a musician that we've had on the show, and I love having James around. But we had Brandon Mills on our show in the early years. Love Brandon. He's kind of a cutie guy. I mean, he was also on The Bachelor. Is that right, Andrea? Is she with us? He was on The Bachelor, and he does a bunch of stuff, and now he's living life kind of as a nomad. And we love Brandon. He homes out of Nashville, but is a musician as well. He was the first one to bring the hallucinogenic medicines to our network in the conversation. And he was sharing, and his steps are, he's Army sniper, and he's seen a lot of ugly, been involved in a lot of ugly, didn't know how to fix the pieces that were broken with him. And he went and he found a licensed shaman to administer said hallucinogenics, and which is fine. And again, I do not have the roadmap or the map for any part of this. Please understand, I'm not an expert. I don't know everything. I won't claim to know everything. I'm going to, and me and Jack talked about this pre-show because I want to venture this conversation.
Right.
We've got men and women that are doing $1,000 cocktails from the VA that is taking them left, right, left, and they don't know what the reasons and the purposes and why they're taking everything. One does one thing to bring them up, one does another thing to bring them down, and they're getting tired of it. And then we've got our good friends with the Chattel Foundation, who Chad Olischlager ended up passing away because of the cocktail that he was on. Had a bed to get in, and that is an organization out of Texas. We love talking with Eric and what he's getting done down there. Saw them, quick shout out. Saw Eric with Hazel with I can't remember the other person, and that's going to break my heart because good friend, we sat with him down in Texas. He borrowed his van to us, which makes it worse.
Bobby Withrow.
Bobby Withrow, I just had it, and Andrea caught me. That's fine. Bobby, they were in a picture at an event this week. Squirrel moment. Anyway, where do you draw the line? Because here's the deal. A lot of young men who go into the service, and I'm sorry I'm excluded females because I mostly seen young men, they get on post, and once they do boot camp and once they do AIT, it's a free-for-all at their billets, and it is an absolute alcohol-induced frat party experience, and that's what they have. And I'm not saying bad, naughty. I mean, they're not doing anything different than what college kids are doing on college campuses. So don't give me, there just has to be a foundation or a function there. But my concern is this use of the hallucinogenic. And if we're just doing it, aren't we not setting up kind of the same thing as what they were doing at the barracks? Am I seeing this wrong?
No, I'm following what you're saying. I mean, the way I look at what happens at the barracks, in my opinion, is, the same thing that happens as your first experiment of being away from home, right? And but the problem I see is what happens after the barracks, which is what happens in the military, which you don't see as much from the other side, is people continue drinking, and well into, getting out of the military and well throughout the military. And I'm not talking drinking like, a couple beers on Friday after work. I'm talking drinking every day. You know what I mean? I'm talking drinking, and that's where I think that it doesn't, like, somebody could tell me they're eating mushrooms every day and I would not be concerned. I just wouldn't, you know what I mean? But somebody that tells me they're drinking every day, I am concerned because I know what that's like, from a personal experience. I know what that is like, so I just know that that's not a good way to go in that direction. So that's why I think it also has a lot to do with our culture in America and the culture around the world too, Europe and all these places. It's a drinking culture, and people start drinking, you know what I mean? When they want to have a good time, it's a social thing. And that's what's going on there, and they get really into the drinking. And that's definitely where I got into the drinking. And I think if you can get, unfortunately in the military, they're not really into plant medicine, and there's a lot of, for a variety of reasons. We're not going to, go into all of that. But same thing with, police, firefighters, and they don't let you use cannabis. But instead, a lot of these professions just, instead of using cannabis, just drink. You know what I mean? So it's like, for instance, when I got out and I could now use plant medicine, I never really had the urge to drink as much as I did before. So do I think that anybody should be abusing anything? And do I think everything's in moderation? Yes. Do I think to each their own as well? And I'm not going to come be like, to you, no, like, don't drink. You shouldn't be doing that, because I don't know your story. And maybe you do need to be drinking right now when you're in your situation. Like, I don't know, so I'm not going to come play Jesus or any savior in that sense and tell you what you should or should not be doing. But what I can say is, would I prefer if in the barracks and dorms, they could just, if they needed it, have cannabis and have mushrooms versus buying liquor 50% off at the store there on base? Yes, 100%. You know what I mean? That's, I think we would have a much happier workplace environment, 100%, and that's, I remember coming into work, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., it's the bomb dump, and a lot of people are still recovering from the night before. You know what I mean? And it's a grumpy workplace environment. And now picture that every day. You know what I mean? Now we're talking every day. And that's the culture of it. And yeah, so that's kind of where my thinking is. It's always hard. It's just hard for me to picture it in the same league as that, if you will, sir.
So, and this is a conversation. It's not something that I think I need or want, or
Sure.
I mean, we've got people that are regularly using THC right now, and again, it's not something that I mean, have I consumed? Absolutely. I mean,
Sure.
all stages, all levels, all types, all whatever, but it's not a daily. Not that it matters. And I don't care if you do use daily. There's people in my area that do use daily. And I just wondering if it's a habit forming piece, and because I don't have enough knowledge on it.
Sure.
And I honestly, I don't have a problem and you said if you use it daily. I don't have a problem if that is the choice and the direction, and that's what you need in your life, and that's the way that you want to express your world. I have zero problems. I don't care.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't want us to add another piece to our world where you already said you're running into people that are trying to change the market and trying to change the industry, and they're to cut corners, and they've done that in all of the drug, pharmaceutical and illegal drug ways, where you get people that get their hands on it for the wrong reasons, and it's agreed.
Right.
But I don't understand where if this fentanyl thing, I can't get by in my head right now, because the stuff will straight up kill you. And if you're dead, you can't consume. So why are these people adding fentanyl to all the things that they're putting out there? That doesn't make any sense to me, unless they're trying to make, a bold.
For you. I mean, it's because when they whip up, wherever they're whipping up in the lab in Mexico or wherever they're cooking this stuff up, instead of using 100 pounds of whatever they were using before, they only need to use 1 pound of fentanyl for the same amount of drugs. You know what I'm saying? And yes, they're not measuring it, and there's children running around there with no shoes mixing the stuff up. It's a horrible scene, just like a lot of places all over the world, but that's what's happening, and it's just a more potent. It's almost like if you were, running your car on gasoline, right? And now they're like, hey, instead of putting 20 gallons of gasoline in your car to run that far, you're going to only need 5 gallons, whatever this is. You know what I mean? And that's how the math works out in the fentanyl. And when speak on the other question about habit forming, I think that cannabis can be habit forming. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a daily cannabis user saying that. And I think that it can be if you use it as something that's like, hey, like I need to, wake up and do this. For me, man, it puts me totally at ease throughout the day. It gives me a lot of creative juices. Some people that smoke it kind of kills their creativity. Once again, it's all dependent on your biological and chemical makeup. You know what I mean? It's
Sure.
all, everything is, you know what I mean? What happens to me and what happens to, for instance, like my wife, when we smoke the same thing or drink the same thing, are just two totally different things. So like, that's how it is with everybody, going into it. For me, cannabis really balances me out and just kind of reels me in a little bit, and just I love it, man. And I love how it's a plant, has no negative effects, it's cancer producing in a lot of ways. So I'm a big cannabis guy, obviously, but with mushrooms, I don't necessarily eat mushrooms every day. Some people do like to microdose every day, and we provide for that, and we have entire regimens built around that. I would say a solid percentage of people do. I like it a once in a while reset, or to reduce brain fog, or to if you're just trying to, like, for instance, my brother's still serving right now. And him and I, well, he's a reservist, so not the same thing. But when just throwing just a joke out there, guys. But he's in right now. When we can catch up online and play some video games, sure, I'll eat a little bit of mushrooms, play some video games, and have a great time with my brother instead of getting drunk at my house. You know what I mean? He's off somewhere across the world, and I can still connect and cut loose without having to get drunk, at my house. You know what I mean? And he obviously can't indulge and stuff, but it's. For me, it's like it's kind of having an alternative to have a good time socially without having to, potentially take a negative effect on my well-being and or ruin the next day, man. Okay, because there's no negative effects the next day on mushrooms. You feel great the next day, and that's what I was going to say to you as somebody who doesn't really, indulge in weed every day and indulge, because I kind of understand that personality a little bit, as a lot of my family members are like that. And I think mushrooms, for a lot of people in that boat, can help them take from operating at 97% to operating at like 100%. Like even if you don't feel like you need it, you want it. I've seen movies about it. I don't want to do that. Whatever's going on in that movie, you know, they're eating a bunch of mushrooms, seeing stuff flying around. It's not that. This is like a supplement. Okay, it's like a mental supplement that co-evolved and coexisted with our biology as long as we've been on this planet. Okay, so it's been, you know, it's there. The synapses and everything connects in our brain. It's not like a mystical chemical that's made up on some planet. You know what I mean? It's literally here right now, and it's made for humans, and it's natural, and there's no negatives to it. And if you take it and like, you know, I agree to that. Anything that, and that's with anything, you know, eating food, for instance, can be habit forming, and you see, you know, all this type of stuff. But I think mushrooms is the one substance I've truly found that can break habits and reset what I call negative thought patterns. And you'll see a lot of literature written on this, and I think it's so true. Where we find ourselves running into the same thing every day. You wake up, oh, hey, today, if you're in a depression funk, hey, today sucks. Hey, today this, hey, today that. Now you take the mushrooms, it's like, you know what? I'm kind of out of that perspective for a second. You know, it's not that bad. I'm actually really lucky to have a lot of this stuff around me. You know what I mean? It just takes you kind of like a little bit, you know, if you're a dot in the map, it takes you a little bit to the left of that dot, perspective-wise. Just so you can kind of take a second and just breathe and just be like, hey, it's not that serious, you know? Whereas for me, alcohol is not going to do that. Alcohol is going to take you whichever way you're already kind of going. Like if you're already feeling kind of down, for a lot of people, alcohol is just going to keep it going that way. A lot of people are happy on alcohol, but it can switch either way. For me, I think alcohol just makes everything more dramatic that is currently happening, right? Versus mushrooms is a totally different, and that's why a lot of people look at it as like a very spiritual experience, and I believe that too, because it's a lot deeper connection. I think mushrooms and humans go back older than alcohol and humans because they didn't need anything to make it. They could just go out in the woods and pick it. And you could see that when you eat it and really get into those deeper doses. You could be like, whoa, like I'm kind of connecting with some like stuff that's deep into our system here. And yeah, man, obviously you can tell I'm kind of like a hippie with all this stuff, but yeah, dude, I think even if you don't eat it every day or you're not into kind of smoking weed or taking mushrooms all the time, if you just try it once and you try to even go accomplish something, I'm not talking eat 5 grams and, you know, go trip like crazy out in the woods. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just a small dose, just that you might not even realize it, but I think it actually sharpens you up a little bit. On the I don't think it's like a substance, like kind of cannabis for me, man, does not sharpen me up. It's kind of like a relaxation, like kind of like taking it easy. Mushrooms is not. It's a different game, different world, you know. So even as somebody that doesn't try it, man, I would recommend just trying a small dose and then trying to do something that you enjoy doing on a regular basis, and you might actually improve on it. Like it's that type of thing. It's a weird supplemental like little like almost like Mario eating the mushroom and he's like stronger type of thing, dude. Like it's really weird, but I recommend it, and obviously you can see I've, you know, full gung ho on it now. But a lot of people think it's like just for PTSD, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, just because I'm in this like deep rut, now I need to take something dramatic like taking mushrooms or taking ketamine or taking a frog, or you don't have to get to that point. You don't have to get to that point. You know, you can take it whenever you want, and I think you'll notice a really deep healing. And it's not a super like, you know, as I'm sure you're talking about cannabis, tried all different types and all different types of everything, and it's not like taking other psychedelics where it's like, oh my God, like, and it can be if you take a lot, as does anything, but a light dose, you're never going to feel like trapped or like you're turning something on for 9 hours or 10 hours or anything like that. It's almost like the equivalent of drinking a beer or two. Like you're going to forget you even took it, and you're just going to be, instead of drinking a beer and kind of feeling like, hey, I just want to go get a pizza, you're going to be like, hey, like I want to solve something. You know what I mean? Like I want to figure something out or like do some deeper healing. So sorry to go off on like a tangent on that, but just
no, this is good because it actually fosters more of the conversation. And then we've got Mr. Howard's anything that makes you feel good can be a habit forming, 100%. And everyone, it can be food, it can be relationships, it can be, you know, it can be hunting. I mean, going out and firing your firearms, and that can be habit forming. I mean, anything that can, and I think the piece that we're looking for is the control. And I'm not hearing that the shrooms has a piece or is a place that will grab a hold and is controlling of you.
Right.
That's the piece I'm hearing.
Yeah. I would definitely.
I can argue. I mean, some people that the use of THC is not habit for me. At the same time, you know what? I watch people do it every day that seem not to be able to not do it, and that's fine. Again, it's not a place. I know people that pound, you know, like 12 Advil in the morning every single morning to get their day started. I don't know that. Why is that the go-to? I know people that have to have their coffee before they can start their day. I mean, is the caffeine that essential? I don't have these answers. The piece that I'm intrigued with is I'm more intrigued than I've ever been to get 3, or even if I functioned on 97%, which is probably a far shot from that, but to get that next level, I'm always willing for that. I mean, bad story shadow in my life. We had some when I was playing college football, or prior to college football, I had some Division I players come to me with speed and said, "This will take you to the next level." I'm not sure that did that. And again, it wasn't something that it was something that I experimented with, but it was like, no, not liking it. It's not my thing. I'm not going to do it. Never really have done it. You know, I started chewing when I was in the 5th grade. Who wants to do that? Copenhagen gutted it. Thought that was what the cool guys did because my old man did it. Went till, and some of my secrets that people are going to went till my sophomore year in college and said I needed to do this cold turkey. Got off it. Again, it was habit for me because right now my mouth is absolutely juicing up because I'm talking about throwing a dip in, and it's like,
right. And you know, I hear that's funny, and you know, I connect with a lot of that. And cannabis, I'm going to be honest with you, is right up that alley. You know, I for me, cannabis is a miracle drug. But to say that everyday cannabis use is not going to make you want to kind of, you know, take it easy and order a pizza, in my experience, is not true. I mean, that's exactly what I'm going to want to do when I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It's a relaxation type of thing, and that type of category. Same thing with like a lot of these other stuff can be. But I truly feel like I've never met somebody, you know, and I'm sure they're out there, but I've never met somebody that's like, hey, man, like, I really need those, you know, to get my mushrooms for this week. Like, I need my fix of mushrooms for this week. Like, that doesn't exist, man. Like, you know what I mean? And there's people that are like, hey, I really could use that relief it gave me again from this other stuff. But they even know it's not like, hey, like I need just that mushroom, you know, for to solve all this stuff. It's almost like the mushrooms make it so clear that it's like, hey, this is what your issues are when you're taking it. And this is kind of what you need to like focus on and meditate on a little bit. And that's why when we start talking about bad trips and stuff, okay, a lot of people aren't ready for this conversation, but 9 times out of 10, a bad trip is because you on a personal level are not ready for the amount of mushrooms, or you're not ready for what you're about to see, you know, or what it's going to give to you, right? So it's almost like when you get, you know, you get a gift from somebody and it's almost like too good of a gift, or in some cases too bad of a gift, and you don't really know how to react for the current event, right? It's the same thing with mushrooms, and that's what the bad trip is. It's like, okay, hey, here's a bunch of mushrooms, and you're dealing with some traumatic stuff right now. And it's going to slap on you that healing right now. And you might not be ready for that, you know, personally. And it might freak you out. You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of the bad trips come from, where they think they're trapped in this thing. It's like, no, you're just in your own reality and trying to work it out. And that's why I can confidently say, you know, you could hand me any amount of mushrooms right now. And yes, I'd definitely be off in another universe, but I have almost no fear of a bad trip. Because I'm almost like, I've had ego death multiple times. I'm almost at peace with whatever happens when you eat those mushrooms is going to happen. Because that's the truth. It's going to happen. A lot of people can't let that control go. Whereas like, hey, what's going to happen when I take this? I'm talking bigger doses, guys. So I'm not talking, we're at the microdose conversation. We're into like the deep healing, which many people are never going to go in this direction. And that's fine too. They don't need it, you know. But I'm talking, you know, where we're talking like deep doses, talking being like incapacitated for like 6 to 8 hours. You know, the only negative things I've heard, you know, talking about the stuff like, you know, needing and stuff, I've never had a dependency here, but I have heard of bad trips on certain people. And a lot of times it's to do with what's going on in your current life that you're not ready to resolve with those mushrooms. So yeah, and that's where a lot of those stories come from. But to say that, I don't think mushrooms is ever gonna be like, hey, like somebody gives somebody mushrooms in high school and it's like now they're gone. You know what I mean? Now they're a mushroomer. You know what I mean? They're gone. Like, you know what I mean? We're never, they're gonna be doing mushrooms for the rest of their life. Like that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's not the same type of thing. And cannabis can be that though, 100%. And this is all anecdotal. This is all personal experience, but that's just from working in this stuff and from being a consumer of both and seeing every walk of life in my local area of both. That's kind of what I've gathered from it. And my big thing is when I see somebody doing plant medicine, whether it be cannabis, I've never done the frog. I've never done ayahuasca. I've tried ketamine with my other veteran buddy who got it one time. Way too much for me. Don't need all that. You know what I mean? So I've tried a lot of this different stuff. And if you can just take something that's grown naturally on this planet with zero human intervention, like it would be there with or without you existing, and that's probably safe in most cases, right? Because it's out there, it's been out there. There's nobody touching it. There's nobody, manufacturing it or changing it. That's what you want to stick to as much as possible, and especially in today's world. And you can't do that when you buy something off the street, okay? Because you have no idea where that's coming from. And some people obviously have better connections than others. I know some people out there, I'm sure, are rolling their eyes when I'm saying this, but I'm just saying, when you buy something off the street, you don't really know. And that's the kind of variable we've been trying to eliminate with this is like, hey, at least that we're a veteran team here and that we know this is going to veterans. So like on a moral level, we're never going to let anything out the door that we're not extremely proud of, because this all comes full circle. And,
well, I like that conversation. And you know what? How many times have we heard over this last even election series? And one of the things was getting drugs out of the mail and then people dying because of it, which sounds absolutely moronic in my opinion. Sorry if that hurts your feelings, but you know what? If you're using a controlled substance that you have no idea where it's coming from and you are mail ordering that crap, I know this is, I hope I'm not poo-pooing your thing here, but it's like,
there's no such thing as pooping my thing, bro, because I think everybody's entitled to their own thing, right? So it's
sure.
You're never going to offend me, but I agree. I mean, if you're ordering something off the line and you don't know even remotely, or you don't have any care, or if you just clicked on an ad on Instagram or Facebook that says this has drugs and you're ordering that, to me is just like, I mean, you're rolling the dice of their life. I mean, you see the news stories. A lot of people in my generation that graduated in high school are dead from fentanyl. I mean, what's out there. I mean, everybody knows what's out there. Everybody knows what's out there. So, I mean, you're rolling the dice. We're trying to, but I agree with the mailing and a lot of things. But the problem with mailing on some stuff, man, is, okay, if you have a veteran farm, I mean, you have to think, I've not met anybody. When I spoke at Denver at SciCon, there was one other group of veterans there that was even remotely interested in this. And they were good dudes. And shout out if they see this, and they were also a couple Marine dudes. They were just getting started, as am I, in the last few years since 2021. So to think that there's going to be a little veteran shop growing mushrooms in every arm's distance of a veteran is never going to happen. So there is a place for that stuff, right? But to think that you should just be going on there and ordering hard drugs with no repercussions is insane to me. That you would even think that would work, and that's where a lot of people are getting.
There's going to be a time tonight when we shut this show down, and we do a very poor job of saying, hey, if you got time, hang out after the show. We'd like to collaborate and have a post-show conversation. A lot of people got a dip, and we go longer than what we say. We're already over 20 minutes now. I don't know. We need to get out of that narrative telling everyone, oh, it's just going to be an hour, because our shows do tend to run up to 2 hours. If anyone's got to go, please let us know. That's fine. We'll get through that.
Dinner. That's the only thing I'm waiting on, so I don't get in trouble at the house. But as long as that's good, I'm free to talk to you guys whenever.
And you got that lasagna sitting there, so I totally get that.
I don't even care, as long as she's not mad that I'm not eating it when it's ready. Then it's all good, And you always got to know you got my. And I want to give him my phone number too. You guys got my phone number, and call me anytime about this type of stuff, and I will pick right up. So we do this full time, and
my brain is saying there's so much more. And again, I'm not attaching to you and saying, hey, we're going to steal your idea. That's not it at all. There's a way to collaboratively put this together. And I think that there's a way that we can manage a piece that is helping more, period. Having the conversations. I'm just going to drop it right now. How awesome would it be that, on your packaging or whatever, when you are choosing to consume and you get into a space that you want to reflect these ideas and thoughts and the function, here's the network that is open to you to have A, conversations, B, have support, C, other limits and other opportunities. And that's something we've been working on for years. You have a mechanism here that would allow for that opportunity to create more of those opportunities. That's just where my brain works. And again,
so I'm open to talking through everything. And I know, we're throwing a lot of kind of loose ideas at each other right now, but I'm open to talking through everything. Just to give you a basis on kind of where we stand on this. I'm always hesitant on doing collaboration we haven't collaborated with nobody so far on anything. Just for the simple fact that and I don't get this vibe off you guys at all, but this truly is to us like a life or death mission. And it truly is like deathly serious to us that there's limited greed and limited of anything in that. So we really vet heavily what we work with and what we collab with, because we have just a ton of veterans depending on us for this stuff. And I know obviously there's no way of this negatively affecting that, so this doesn't even target it towards you at all. But that's just
no.
That's why we haven't collabed with anybody so far. But I would love to talk through stuff like that, and this is definitely one of the places I could see us collabing with. You know what I mean? In more of the speaking sense and more of the kind of just open dialogue and just letting loose. After consuming about how this helped me and I want to talk about it. You know what I mean? You see me out here talking about it, so that'd be great. That makes total sense to me.
Absolutely. And I'm chomping at the bit because you're right. I mean, we have, and the number was 46,000 up to a year ago. And now we have 56,000 organizations that say they're helping veterans and first responders. And we've got organizations that have proven and shown that they're taking in 6 and 7 figures as compensation for their work that they're doing in that organization. And no one in our system, and I'm not trying to pitch you here, I'm just saying,
you're right.
We have committed to be and do everything we can with what we got. Bottom line, we are in direct competition with some of these bigger organizations that are, that they get to do some things that we don't get to do. They get to have a marketing team that does. We have some stuff that is on the verge of getting out there that it just, if you had $10,000, it wouldn't be a problem. And I'm like, my gosh, do you lie in bed at night thinking about the men and women that gave you the opportunity to do what you're doing right now, to give them a Patriot forward? We call it Patriot forward, not pay forward. Patriot forward. Only in the fact that I get everyone's got to feed their family. Zero question about that. I don't believe in freebies and handouts. Don't agree with that. I know that that's a piece that you're in, and I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying when you're doing business with the People's Patriot Project, we are vesting into a process and we are vesting into a venture that is, and I'll be honest with you, we've turned our backs on so many people because they don't follow through on the words that they committed to do. They don't continue a conversation. They're not there when they said they're going to be there. And I love the passion you have. This is life and death. I agree with you. And yet, if you're going to sit on that lifeguard stand down at the pool, you better be ready to jump in the water when you're needed. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah.
And that's not your conversation. That's just our audience.
Yeah. And, that's a very important, that's a great way to say it. And, and just in today's world, it's just, especially unfortunately in our culture locally here in America, it's very well, what am I going to get? You know what I mean? Where's my, beak dip into this, especially in this, kind of drug. I don't really call this a drug, but in this drug world, and that's just not the type of people we are. We're all just vets, man. And we really are just trying to vets for vets, by vets for vets is the motto we live by. And, once you start attaching price tags and start attaching, this and all that stuff, the whole thing is lost for me personally. And, as the founder of this, that's just how I'm gonna operate it, man. So I know not everything in the world can be not everything in the world can be operated like that, and I understand that. But this, in my opinion, can. So I'm going to make sure it is. So that's what it's all about. And the people who really benefit from that is that veteran who does not have that much money to their name, who's just trying to try something as a last resort on the verge of, like, serious mental issues or deep into mental issues and on the verge of suicide. And that's the person who benefits from us not going that path of it, right? Because they're not just, we're not paying lucrative sums to crazy salaries. We're all volunteering our time and just sending it out for nothing because we have the skill set and the equipment to grow it. Okay, so what else is missing here? You know what I mean? There's nothing really else. It's just some people that are willing to be brave enough to get it out to other veterans. And I have no problem doing that because this stuff saved my life. So like I said, if it saves one other veteran's life besides mine, I'm totally fine with any pain which we already suffered a lot, but any more pain that has to keep coming our way, I do not care because, what we're doing here is the right choice and I can live by that and helps me sleep at night and it gives me that moral cup filled up. So that's kind of why we haven't really collabed with anybody because I just haven't seen anybody that, number one, that hasn't really made sense collabing just on a, economic standpoint. And then also on the standpoint of like, hey, like, I don't really think we're even in the same world of what we're trying to do, like mentally. Because there's a lot of mushroom groups out there. And I'm not going to say any names because I'm not trying to go down that road. But there's a lot of big groups out there on Facebook, my size or smaller. I haven't really seen any two that are bigger than our group. But it's all just about money. You talk, they all call me, and you speak to the owners. They're off in a foreign country. Somebody they pay is back in America doing that, and they're living abroad, doing that. That's not how we do this. You know what I mean? That to me is not why we're supposed to be here. That is not why you're supposed to be selling mushrooms. Is you're living abroad, and just upcharging mushrooms that you're buying from some place in California that's unethical mushrooms to begin with. You know what I mean? You're just funding a drug deal, a legitimate. I'm not saying drug dealers are bad in every case, but you're funding potentially a legitimate drug dealer organization versus funding a small veteran co-op farm of volunteers. You know what I mean? That's what you're choosing to do by going that way. And that's why I just, when I speak to those groups and, they lose me, they lose me on that because that part, obviously they're not really veteran themed. They're just like, hey, we have drugs and you can order them here, and I get that. That's fine. There's plenty of people that just want mushrooms and that's great that they know that they want mushrooms instead. But yeah, that's why we haven't, I'm not trying to say I'm like very nitpicky or anything. It's just, that's why I haven't really seen anybody that's like, yeah, we should collab or there'd be any benefit to what we've built here in collaboration. But you guys being a veteran group and being kind of a veteran open talking forum, it's definitely something we can talk more about and see ways that would make sense collabing. You know what I mean?
Good to see you, Tim Newton, out of Missouri. Tim Newton Band, amazing dude, amazing concept. You might be hearing from this guy. He's love that cat. Mathew Jones, what are you working on right now?
Well, I have a couple of project songs that I'm kind of working on. Yeah, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. That's the fun part is I get to be the creator and put something out. It's like, haha, But no, I think I learned when I first started writing my music. I was really trying to complete songs, so I was in a way kind of forcing them to happen. And what I noticed is that a lot of the songs that I would try to force to complete, they would lose that energy. The story would get kind of muddy. So I decided, well, I'm going to write as that inspiration, and as those things come to me, I'm not going to force it to happen. And what I wound up with was, some songs here that, I'm not a professional by any way, shape, or form. I do it because I love it and it helps people. But I was able to create some songs that, I think sound really cool, but that's a whole process. I sit here in my makeshift man cave / music studio.
I like it.
And I'm going for that unfinished look.
I like it.
There's still some mudding that needs to happen over here.
I like the light. The lighting's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I spent hours and hours down here in front of the computer, recording track for track, rhythm guitar, leads, bass tracks, vocal tracks, messing with the mixtures, panning left, panning right, increasing volumes and adjusting frequencies. And it is a extensive process. And the only experience I have is what I figure out on the fly. So I tried to do that. I did get someone in Denver reprimanded me. They kind of give you one of those like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But they asked me about my music, and I told them I'd sit down here for hours and then be listening to the same song all day long. And at the end of the day, something, not even anything drastic, something I wouldn't like, and I would scrap the whole thing. He's like, what are you doing? Like that can be saved, like you're deleting your creativity. So I was like, okay, that's a good point. I'm going to stop doing that. So, yeah, I mean, I guess what's kind of coming up, well, we already spoke about the Wreaths Across America that I'm going to Arlington. I'm going to get back from that around December 15th. And then December 27th, I'm playing a 2-hour gig at 88 Tactical in Omaha, Nebraska. It's just I'm looking forward to having more of the opportunities where I can get out there and share music, and just kind of do what I love to do. Yeah. So I mean, those are kind of the things that are right up on the chopping block. The only other thing is at the end of December, probably maybe the beginning of January after the holidays, I should be hearing back from the national panel on the 2 original songs I submitted to Omaha this year for the competition. Both of those songs won at the Omaha office. They've moved forward to a panel of judges they're not inside the VA, they're in the arts, and they will judge the entries. And about that time, I should get a call back to see if I'm going to Indianapolis. So I'm excited. Definitely some things are happening. Yeah, I want to reach people. So
There is so many things we stumble on the conversation tonight is amazing and great. And I have not heard of this event in Colorado with the Veteran Arts. I want to know more about that. I want to learn what they're doing and where to go. We've been pushing for a couple of years. We would like to set up a team that sits there and will work and continually nominate these artists. When I say artists, now I'm back to the musician world, for events like the Josie Awards, which is, you can argue, the number one awards ceremony in the country that focuses on indie artists. And if you don't know what indie artists, those are individual non-contracted artists that aren't signed to labels, get to be nominated for that. This guy right here would be a great nomination for a Josie Award. Just oddly enough, as I'm scrolling through social media, we see C.W. Wooten, who's up in the Colorado area, who just won Veteran Band of the Year, or not. It doesn't even. It's Band of the Year for the Josie Awards. It had nothing to do with veteran, but he is a veteran, and so excited for CW and what he's getting done. And you got a couple more songs lined up with us. Which one you want to roll with next?
Let's see. You want to do the lyric video for Running?
Remember, I pulled up the live video for that.
Okay.
And I'm getting called for dinner now, guys. I think I pushed my luck on time. But
we appreciate you, Jack.
Yeah, anytime. And Matt, seriously, man, send me a message on Facebook or something, dude. We got to link up, and I'm coming out to Denver, and I would love to see that Veteran Arts thing. I'm sure it's at that same convention center where I went to speak at SciCon or somewhere in that area. It's
so every year the VA does the National Veterans Creative Arts Competition, and the festival was held the next year, right around May timeframe, but it goes to different cities.
Okay.
So last year, I mean, I'm in Nebraska,
okay,
but I won, and so they took me to Denver for a whole week.
Wow.
So if I win this time, they'll take me to Indianapolis for a whole week. The year prior to Denver was St. Louis. So really, really cool stuff. And there's a lot of different arts that people can put up, whether it's latch and stitch type rugs, or it's painting, or it's non-rhyming poetry, or
I love events
stories, wood burning. Like it's everything. And it's absolutely amazing. It really is.
That's why I was curious if I was down there, because I'm heading that direction here soon. So I was like, damn, I'd love to go see that. But so it's rotating around. I'll keep my eye on it. But
yeah,
I'd love I'd love to collaborate and at least connect on Facebook. Blake and I have a great time, so I'm sure adding you to that mix would be even more fun, dude. So seriously, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Keep it up, dude. Keep it up. Hearing your story and everything, man, just inspired me even more for mine. So it's just amazing, seriously. So
yeah,
it was great.
We have a lot more in common than we do different. So
I think so. A huge time, and yeah, it was really awesome. There's just a lot to think about through dinner, and it was great talking to you guys all too. And call me seriously anytime about this stuff. I work 24/7 on this type of stuff, and if you know a veteran out there that's thinking about medicine, this type of medicine, like I said, you send them to me, just remind me, and we'll send it completely for free. Just make sure they're a veteran. That's all I ask. So yeah, man, you guys all have a great day, and yeah, man, have a good rest of your night. So,
you too, bud.
Hey,
thanks for everything, Jack. We'll be talking to you soon, brother.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
All right. So we're getting ready to play. I lost my note. Sorry. Running. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Mathew Jones with Running.
I remember skipping school. I remember the local pool. When I saw you sitting there. Oh God, what do I say? She throws a look my way, and all I can do is stare. 17 and 23, 36 and 43, 54 and 65. These ages come and go as fast as the wind blows. It is the story of a life. I remember you and me holding hands in the nursery, staring at her baby girl. Baby brother's on the way, I found out just yesterday. I'm gonna give you both the world. 17 and 23, 36 and 43, 54 and 65. These ages come and go as fast as the wind blows. It is the story of a life. I know that I will see you're there waiting on me, just on the other side. I see your face in a picture frame, and I hear you calling my name. So I close my eyes. 17 and 23, 36 and 43, 54 and 65. These ages come and go as fast as the wind blows. It is the story of her life. And I remember skipping school. I remember the local pool. And I remember skipping school. I remember the local pool. And I remember you and me holding hands in the nursery. And this is the story of our life.
right.
So we had some communication things here. That's
Yeah.
on me. On me. Sorry. That is called I Remember, not running.
Yes.
So put that, make sure that's check. I apologize for that, brother.
I had a very human moment in that song. Right at the end, I was like, all right, we're getting to the end of the song. Because whenever you play an original song, you're like, oh, how are they going to receive this? So I'm getting to the end. I'm like, oh, we're almost done. We're at the finish line. And then I messed up. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man.
There was someone I was listening to as a musician. It might have been a movie, to be honest with you, but where they said that there's times where you get through that as musicians and you get into those spaces. Every musician does it. And if you don't even mention it, people won't notice it. And so I heard it, brother. And again, you probably wanted the cleaner version with the lyric video and stuff. I thought, in my opinion, there were more value in the live. The visual is not the greatest. It's not good for hearing this, and that's not what this was about. This is about hearing the best. And even with the mess up in there, it's a reflection piece. It is a piece that you can sit there. Clearly, it's called I Remember. If I get the title right at any given point. But and it is just sitting and looking, and I don't get a chance to go to my hometown very often, Cody, Wyoming. I have no bonds to this space that I'm living in now. I have nothing that like gets me excited about. There's no history. There's no passion about where I'm living right now. When I can place that song with me at Cody, Wyoming, and I'd be like, yep, I see. Here's the message. Here's a place. This is where it fits. It's another great song, brother.
That's one of those examples of something that I wrote that leaves a lot of food on the plate, because of course there's so many other things that happen throughout the span of our lives that are, really, really big moments. But I just wanted to capitalize on a couple of them, and then say, hey, like these ages that we find ourselves in, it's 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, and they seem to just happen so fast, looking back. And I mean, it's crazy to me. I've been married 20 years. The only other thing that I've been doing longer than being married is playing guitar. Like, so that to me is a big thing, and I enjoy writing like that. But yeah, I mean, both my kids, I wrote about them, and it was that fast. My firstborn daughter, she was still in a crib, like daddy didn't wait very long after the kid was born, so my son, he was right down the line. It was just, we started a family, and it was just, it kept growing and quickly. So that's one of those, like, as I look back, I see, them when they were, Halloween trick-or-treating. I see them when they were kind of developing their own independence and their little bit of their own creativity, dyeing their hair, wearing dark clothes, and now I see, one of my children is married, living on her own. And it's like, wait a minute. I remember when you were so little. Like, it wasn't that long ago, but that time just, it keeps ticking, and next thing you know, years have gone by, and what you're looking back on are hopefully happy memories.
This week I saw a question put out in a veteran network, and it was, what can veterans, and I'll honestly say this is a conversation for first responders as well. What don't civilians get that veterans experience? And that's this conversation. I don't care that the common Joe's not dug a fuck. Care about that. Don't care that they've never had a chance to shoot a 155 millimeter round down the range. They don't need to understand that. They don't need to be part of that. They don't need to know how to fix a sucking chest wound. That's, or how to tourniquet an amputee or any of that. But what I don't think the common world understands is your life isn't put on hold. Like, some people get this idea when I leave a community or I leave this space and, none of the world exists and stops, or the rest of the world stops until I get back. And that's not true. And when it comes to our veterans, you're building families that you don't get to spend all the same nurturing time together with. You get to put your education on hold. You get to put your craft on hold. You get to go make sure that you are doing something that's above and beyond what the rest of 90% of our country is doing. And I didn't really know how to answer that question until you started talking through those pieces. And you're right. You blink your eye and it's over with. But as you're blinking your eye, you also served your military, you served your country, you did all the pieces, and then you turn around and retry to do this. And at the same time, you're learning as you go, where you didn't get to go to the School of Juliet and learn music. You went to the battlefield and then picked up a guitar one day. I don't know the story, but I'm assuming just picked up the guitar and said, hey, I want to learn. This is something this will be a good pastime. I know some people play video games, some people play guitars, and I don't know. I don't do either of those. I don't know what I really do, but no, I appreciate you, brother, and it helped open my eyes again to one more level of expression. And I know you're digging deep into this network. I know you got some great people. I mean, Joe Garcia. I don't know we'll talk about that after the show. I know him as another name, so I don't know that's
Joe Allen
Garcia came in. Yeah,
Joe Allen.
And again, don't want to call his stuff out here if he doesn't want his stuff out here. That's the other piece of this. Yeah, craziness, awesome. Well, so normally when we have our other guests, we go into the next segment, and the next segment is what's next. You already shared what you're working on. You've already kind of shared with us what's next.
Yeah.
And so we can actually pump the next song and then get into final thoughts if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right.
I'm just happy to be here, man.
Well, we're happy to have you, man. And,
yeah, we're happy you're here.
That's a testament too, because the second we got a hold of Mr. Jones, he's like, yes, I'm excited. It wasn't hard. We do get a hold of some artists, and I'll be honest, all the artists we've had on have been amazing. It's the ones that we haven't quite had on yet, and that doesn't mean that we've reached absolutely every single one. So don't artists that we haven't had on here yet into the well of the abysmal, not really getting your job done. But there's been some that's been tough to have some communication with. And we recently had an artist that we were really excited, comes from old school world. I mean, we normally don't throw him under the bus. I won't say his name, but completely ghosted us on the day of the show. And that sucks for us. I mean, we continue. We're going to move forward regardless. But I feel like it's a missed opportunity, kind of like what Jack was talking about. This is critical. We have people that are making decisions that are a decision not to be here any longer. I do think some people need to take this a little, and it doesn't mean that everyone needs to shoulder the mission either. So I understand on some parts. I don't.
Well, and I think that society. I mean, not for lack of effort, but there's a lot of organizations out there that try to raise awareness about veteran suicide prevention. Being able to call the crisis hotline, having someone at your local American Legion and VFWs that can help you with these things. There are a lot of people out there doing a lot to help us.
Absolutely.
And we see that, as these conflicts end, you stop seeing casualties on the battlefield, but the number that does not stop ticking is that suicide number. It just keeps ticking. And the more you look at it, you're like, what else can we do? And I would say, talk to them, get out there and talk to them. Some people, they're hard to communicate with. They don't share stuff like that. And it was hard for me to talk about the things that I've experienced. I mean, it's still hard to talk about. I mean, there's things I probably won't talk about, but what I will do is channel that feeling I get about those things into a melody. And I'll try to create an environment where someone can listen to a song and say, yeah, I'm right there with you 100%. Thank you. I needed to hear this. Because there is someone out there who needs to hear what's being talked about, needs to hear that you're not alone. Like this game, we're all playing it, and none of us get out of it alive. But while we're here, let's do the best that we can to make sure that every single day that you get up is a day that you look forward to, and really get down, get our hands dirty and help people heal. So that's what I'm going to do.
You're going to have to remember that when we come back to our final thoughts segment. Okay.
I probably won't. I have a brain injury.
You're good, brother. Your last song, and we might get the title of this one right tonight. So, because I believe it's
a process of elimination.
Yes. Well, I said it wrong, and I know that Jonathan just typed what I said, and that's on me. And that's 2 weeks in a row where I've had a faux pas during our show, and
there's something cool about this. So the stuff that we've talked about, that Jack shared when it came to like prescription medications and just the cocktail that veterans are given by their doctors. Take this. It's not going to fix it, but take this. This song that you're about to play, it starts out with that stuff. So I mean, this song here is probably one of my favorite songs. If you play the mixed and mastered version, I think that might be the only version there is. But yeah, I'm proud of this one because this one says, hey, we're all going through something. We're all running from something, whether it's, sin, corruption, drugs, suicidal ideology, domestic abuse. Like it's whatever you're running from, we're all running, so I really, really like this one.
You got me nervous now. Which one do I have? Well, I know I've got the right. It's a lyric video. Is that the right one?
Yeah, it's gray. It says running. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, now this is Mathew Jones with For Sure Running.
broken mind. She lets him back in every single time. He says he loves you, but it's always the same. He put his hands on you, now who's the one to blame? 'Cause he don't want you, he always shuns you, and it won't stop until he gets that gun too. And we all ask when you'll be done, and it won't change for you unless you want to. She's trapped inside of a life that's full of pain. Goes home at night and dances with the blade. Under the pressure, her heart begins to cry. These kinds of wounds you will never hide. You in your dreams, you hear the sound of several gnashing teeth, and then a figure appears before your eyes. He reaches out to you and poisons you inside. They're gonna shake you, they're gonna break you, they're gonna strip you down and take your fate too. And we all ask when you'll be done. It won't change for you unless you want to. They stand before us and we're the ones to blame. They gave us promises, then threw us in the flames. We should have listened to the warnings in our mind. We gave them power, now we're running for our lives. We gave them power, now we're running for our lives. We're running for our lives. We're running.
That is Mathew Jones with Running. Who was there? Was there a vocalist in the world that was your inspiration for that song?
Oh, that'd be hard to put a finger on just one.
Right.
Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington.
Okay.
I mean,
I caught a flavor, but I didn't want to plant a seed and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Johnny
Aaron
Cash?
Lewis, Corey Taylor, Slipknot, James. Huh?
Was it a little Johnny Cash-ish?
I
yeah.
thought there was a little JC in there.
Yeah, I get that. I went karaoke one time and I sang some Josh Turner, Long Black Train.
Yeah.
And that sounded good. And I did Johnny Cash's version of Hurt. That sounded good. So, I could dabble in a little, Johnny Cash and Josh Turner.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
But it's just
There's
such a
a lot
sound. You
Yeah.
know?
There's a lot wrapped into that. Talk about your full plate. That is probably the fullest plate of the night.
So that song, my goal was to take those things that we don't talk about. We don't talk about the sinful stuff we do that we know it's bad. We don't talk about domestic abuse. That's why you see, domestic abuse still happening. It's become one of those things where, when I wrote those, I was thinking about a child getting beaten by his father, saying, you lash out in anger and those words, they leave scars. So I was thinking about the generational trauma that happens between a father and a son, or, whatever the case may be. So that's one of the things I was trying to shine a light on. Like, these things are happening every day, you know, so much so that it's a normal, you know, like when someone says, oh, so-and-so got in trouble for domestic abuse, like they're like, what do you do? Or what'd she do? Or what happened? They start dissecting what happened, and they don't look at it like, this has to stop, you know. Or when it comes to you know, kids growing up, becoming teenagers, confused about, you know, kind of the direction of life, or loss of a first love, whatever could possibly lead you towards depression. That depression is one of those things that, you know, if you don't see someone about, it's like setting something on the back burner but not turning down the burner. You know, it will boil over, it will come to a head, and what you're left with is this suicidal ideology, you know, that, you know, well, it would be better off if I wasn't here, you know, or the world would be better off if I never existed. No one would miss me. Those types of thoughts, those are things that you're thinking that are tearing you down. And you know, when it comes, I wanted to find a nice way to express, you know, the act of unaliving yourself. Goes home at night and dances with the blade, you know. So obviously some cutting, and then the result of those things leads to something that can't be hidden. You're going to read about these people in the newspaper. You're going to read about them online, you know, and it tends to be something that's kind of normal, you know, and we start seeing these things just become the usual. Well, they're not supposed to be the usual. They're not the new standard of norm. These never should be. So, but we're all running from something in our lives, you know, whether, you know, it's corruption in our government, no, but we vote these people into these positions, and some cases it works out, some cases it doesn't. You know, I'm not saying I lean like left or right, but we appoint people to represent us, and then when they don't do so, you know, that trickles down to the everyday person. Like, what am I going to do? You know, we don't have faith in our appointed leaders, or they feed us some narrative that convinces us that they're the, you know, the best person for the job. Then as soon as they get there, we're forgotten about, you know.
The funny part about this is
those things we don't talk about. And you know, at the end of that video is, you know, there comes a time in our lives when all we really have left is that everyday grind, everyday fight, whatever it is we're battling. So we just got to keep fighting, you know. We keep fighting, and one day the battle will be ours, you know.
The funny part of this is you're kind of opening Pandora's box, and
I'm trying
we
not
could
to.
we could literally no, and this I was going to take it in a different direction. The fact that I hear your political tone in here, but I'm like, here's the box. We all weak, all of us. No one's willing to have the real critical conversations when you're doing something like may not be wrong, right? You're people find ways to change that narrative, and it's absolutely disgusting. Own who you are, own what you do, and if you're not capable of having that conversation, then maybe everything that came out of your mouth wasn't true to begin with.
Yeah,
and that's a piece that it is. We live in our own darkness because we create darkness, and that's the truth. And then we hide behind. Then we hide behind silence, and that's the craziness.
Yeah. No one can ever say anything bad about me that I haven't already said to myself.
Sure.
You know? So
it doesn't matter what other people say, to be honest with you. It really matters what you say and what that narrative is. That's the truth. And when we all know what the truth is, we all know where we sit and stand. And when you're trying to portray a different picture of who you are and what you are, and that's not a reality, that's where our problems come. Now, I'm not talking about the overindulgence of some things here and there, but this is a whole nother Pandora's box. I mean, this literally puts us into a 4 or 5 hour show, and we can't do that. I mean,
Really,
Andrea's got to cut this at some point and listen back.
Yeah.
And so, love your music.
Thank you.
Love your passion. Love, not only because I hear your messages in your song, I hear your messages as a person. And there's a lot to that, in the fact that there's a lot of people that talk a talk, but they don't walk the walk. And again, that kind of goes back to that Pandora's box. Again, we're going to just have to do a show where it's tear off the Band-Aid. Let's tear it off. Who wants to hear it?
Yeah. And I'll put it out there. Like, I'm not impervious. Like, I get angry in traffic. You know, I'm like everybody. Someone cuts me off, I have something to say about that, you know. But I mean,
but you accidentally cut somebody off and you feel like crap when you cut them off, and you're like, hey,
yeah, like
my fault.
I cut someone off accidentally, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and he was flipping me the bird, and I was like, yeah, I deserve that, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I own that one. I wish we could have little message bars on our vehicles, but I don't know that it'd be used correctly, where it's like, that was my bad, because that would probably put a lot more than that was my bad on there when it's involving other people, but that's my fault. Anyway, we do got to kind of head out the door. There's things we got to get done. And we've been here for our 2 hours, and we committed to one. And so we appreciate all those that have come and spoke as viewers. We appreciate our guests tonight. I don't think it's going to be the last time you see them. I think we've space for Jack, and I mean, not that I hope he's got space for us. That's the way it's got to work. But Mathew, you always have a place with us. You're welcome here all the time, anytime. And we want to watch you grow, and let us know what we can do to support and promote. Let us know.
I have about 23.
What you got in closing?
Enough music for 2 albums.
Sweet.
They're all original. They're not all good, okay? But they're all original. So.
Nice. Man, tonight's show was full. It was full of information, thought-provoking conversation. Jack were here, I'd tell him I appreciate it, but you know, Mathew, as Mark was saying earlier, the message, your passion, your heart, everything about you comes through in your music, and then in conversation you get the same message, the same passion, the same heart, and that's a lot. But specifically, I took a little note on the last song. You said that the song was about how we're all running from something. I mean, it's in the song itself, but you know, we're all running from something, and we'll never stop running from what we're running from until we decide that now's the time to turn around and face it.
Yeah.
So
today's the day we say no more. You know?
Yeah. So that was kind of the. I have a bunch of notes, but that's the last thing that I wrote down was, you know, we're all going to run from something. And, you know, when you turn around and face that, whatever you want to call it, that addiction, that domestic abuse situation, anything, whatever evil that you got to turn around and face, rest assured, it's not the last time you're going to run.
Yeah, you're not standing there by yourself.
Yeah, but that, you know, you pick up the people and the strength along the way to turn around and fight the next one and the next one and the next one, and you know, life is a fight, but we fight to live and we live to fight.
I'd rather be a beacon of hope than a lightning rod of hate, brother.
Yeah.
I
think you just said a key phrase.
Miss Eichmann, your closing thoughts.
Well, I just want to thank, I mean, we're short, I guess, but thank you to both for being here. Super enlightening and super enjoyable on both counts. Clearly, because even though we don't stick to our 1 hour, it's rare that we go well over 2 hours. And so it's a good show when we do. But listening to both of you, we talk about collaboration a lot. And I think collaboration can mean different things. And so sometimes people maybe assume you mean, oh, we're gonna lace together and do our things together. And that may not be in this world. We've talked about creating a net. And is Jack from Maryland, did he say? Boston. And so like now we have somebody in Boston, right in Boston. We have people all around there, but right in Boston, that if we find somebody, we hear about something, we can reach out, and we know that Jack is there and that Jack wants to help. And Nebraska, I'm sorry, we're kind of a melting pot right here in the Midwest, a ton of people. And so there shouldn't be anybody falling through in the Midwest. And I just think it's amazing because both of you are kind of on the same page, and I heard it from both of you at different times in a little bit different way. But Matthew, you want to make an impact. You want to leave the footprint that helps people. And Jack made the comment, if he only helps one person hears about this, tries it, and he helps one, then he's helped one. And so it doesn't matter if you help one or you help 1,000. It does. But if there are 56,000 of us out there trying to help one person, shoot, that's twice the size of my town.
One more, it's like, okay, so.
Yeah. And it was kind of a resounding message. And so even if it's not completely laced together collaboration, working side by side and sharing Jack's message. And that's what we're here to do, and working with you. And I have a feeling we'll be closer, geographically and physically and literally. But I just think that's what we do. We brought you here to share your story. That's what you did. You shared it amazingly and immensely, and we very much appreciate you for sharing. That was amazing. And the music, I got to go back and turn it all back on because I don't think I got to hear enough right now.
They're getting a little muddy if you listen to them all at once.
Well, I might try. I've got 3 little laptops right here, but I also just wanted to share our next week's guests are Nikki Reed. She's going to come on and share some stuff. And then we have Scotty Frazier, who has been here and is coming back for a quick visit. He's got something coming up he wanted to talk about. So perfect timing. It's a holiday thing, I believe. So wishing all of you happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for being here.
Mr. Jones, your mic, brother.
Say what?
It's your mic. What are your closing thoughts for the night?
Oh, my closing thoughts. Jonathan over there wrote a bunch of stuff down. No, I think that, look, when I was in Afghanistan, for a long time, I would say I got lucky. For whatever reason, it wasn't my time. I saw 2 children die in an RPG attack. And if I don't approach every day with the ambition to help somebody, then those kids died for nothing. So, me being able to do what I do and to help people, that's what I'm passionate about. And so that's what I'm going to do. Come hell or high water, that's what I'm going to do.
Appreciate you, brother. And sorry for some of those experiences. I know that's some of those things are an experience that some of us couldn't be able to handle very well. And so we're always here for you. If you just need to do your piece and say there's zero judgment in this network. So First thing we always have to do, and again, it frustrates me because the end and our viewership is a little bit limited when it gets to the end of the show, but every week we ask people to pick up their device and type into your text thread, "I was just thinking about you." Copy that and then send that to 6 people in your contact list. Yes, we are Veteran and First Responder Forward. We're here to take care of veterans and first responders, but we also know that this is an issue that is plaguing our society as a whole. So just to share that little nuance with anyone in your contact list, we're not here to judge. We're not here to hold you back and stop you. We do ask you to make that one conversation with that one person where things ended up a little sideways and maybe things got cut off because of your philosophical beliefs, their philosophical beliefs, the frustrations, whatever. We all been there and had that conversation relationship. My testimony is I do that because I had a dear brother of mine who was best man at my wedding. I was best man at his wedding. We had a falling out, and the next time I literally get to see him is at the side of his casket. And I get to live with that for the rest of my life. And I don't have any regrets, but I do know that I didn't do it right. And so it is critical and essential to, I'm not saying mend relationships. I'm not saying fix anything. We don't fix our veterans and first responders. We add support, and that's what we're here to do. We appreciate all of you. I guess my message overall is that the only expectation you need to be concerned with in life is your own personal expectation. If you are walking through a space where you're expecting others to do, regardless if you're in management, regardless if you're in the upper cadre, if you have an expectation, you better set your mission up for failure. Unless you're going to do the groundwork, you're going to do the boot work, and you're going to move through those spaces. I don't know how to get around that, but it is a piece that I've just recently pondered on into my life, and that it's got to be free. You got to let it go. You do the work for you and what's best for you, and at the end of the day, you have no one to blame for where you're at, and that's the bottom line. There are some people that you can put into your world that counts as support. I wouldn't just freely, and I think that's the downfall of our social media issue, in the fact that people are just willing to drop their stuff out there, and then they're letting anyone they want or anyone that catches on to it to be part of that mending process. I want to tell you right now, misery entertains misery. And if you got people jumping on your social media things that might be sharing some stuff that is a little bit public but a little bit personal, you might want to be careful about who is coming along your side to work with you. With that said, we appreciate all the viewers that came on and shared. We appreciate our amazing guests. We're excited to see where our relationships go in the future. Check it out. Get onto WeP3 Radio. We got Rees Across America coming up December 14th. Get out. Fort Snelling's not full, folks. We got to get her filled, and you know what? It is part of that honoring, remembering, and teaching. There's some big pieces of that, but again, we're way over our time tonight, and we could sit here and talk, I know, at least another hour, and so we appreciate everyone. Go to our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, listen to WeP3 Radio throughout your day, and come check us out tomorrow at 4:30 for the WeP3 Weekly Debrief to hear what we're doing. This conversation might be continued. 4:30 tomorrow. You're welcome to come back, but let us know. It is what it is. If you got a minute, stay tight, and we appreciate again Patriot Pride. That's how we end our stuff, and we appreciate all of you. Boom. This is where I don't have stuff queued, but we're good.